When we're getting ready to squat heavy and you're by yourself, we want to make sure we're taking the steps necessary to be safe. So if you have the squat rack or squat stands that have safety arms on them, make sure you're setting them up in the right spot. So the biggest mistake people tend to make is they set the pins or the arms too high or too low. Too low is definitely a worse problem because it's not there to catch you. Too high is easily fixed by just lowering them down a notch or two. So this may take a few adjustments to play around with, particularly when the bar is unloaded. So first thing you're doing when you're setting up your squat rack or your squat stand, that first set or two where you're just using the empty bar, use that as a chance to sit down in the squat and see which height these pins should be set to catch you if you are unable to complete a rep. Okay, so we don't want them to be so high that they interfere with your squatting. Okay, but we also don't want them to be so low that if you go to the bottom and fail, you are kind of caught in that kind of gray area between where you can't get yourself to collapse and let the pins take it, and you also don't want to dump it behind you. Obviously, if you have to, you do what you have to, but if you can prevent sort of wrecking some of your equipment at home or in somebody else's gym, I recommend you just take a few extra minutes in your setup, get an idea of where your pins need to be. These are marked, these racks are numbered, so once you find out what pin level you're at, just write that down, and that's an easy way to then make sure every next workout you just set it right to that pin level and you're fine. So the height we're looking at in the little demonstration, we again want it to be so low that it won't interfere with our squat, but still high enough to catch us if we just are to collapse our arch a little bit and the pins catch the weight. Okay, so just like a bench press, when you're arched up in the bench, the pins shouldn't be so high that they prevent you from getting the full range of motion. But if you're about to get stuck and your arch collapses, those pins should be there to take the weight. Similar for the squat. I'll show you from this angle. Take your grip. Okay, I take my stance. Now in this position from here, I can go down to the full range of motion. The bar is not going to touch the pins. If I get stuck, all I have to do is collapse a little bit, and the pins are there to help. Okay, so that's a easy way to set the rack up. You can practice this at some point, just kind of get a sense for what it's going to be like. It's not a big deal to fail under the bar. It's okay. It happens to everybody at some point who's pushing themselves along this way. But that's the best way to set it up and be safe.